consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize. Hello, my loves. Welcome. I'm so excited that you are tuning into this episode. If you do enjoy it, please shout it out on social media so more people can tune in as well. On Instagram, it's Bold Sexy Warrior, and on Facebook, it's Rosalyn Fung Coaching Bold Sexy Warrior. And of course, I always appreciate your reviews on Apple iTunes, as that gets the episodes and ratings up more for more people to tune in as well. I'm so excited, my loves. As you may have heard last episode, for the month of August, it's my 40th birthday month. And it's also mine and my sexy silver foxes, Mr. Dan Haig, our 15th wedding anniversary. And to celebrate, we have a very special August promo for you called Elevate Your Wealth with Ease. This is a bundle that includes our Manifest More Money course, as well as my Sacred Sales and Manifest More Money meditation album. So in this course, you will receive a better understanding of what gets in your way of manifesting more money. We are going to give you a clearer path to having a sacred relationship with money so that you can confidently call more money in. And Dan and I share with you how to communicate about money peacefully and intimately, not just with your partner, but it really does start with yourself. And the other really amazing aspects of this course is we've brought in Janet Key of Prosperous Women Coaching, who shares about the sacred money archetypes. You'll also learn about the 6 pillars of building wealth and practical tips apply right away. So normally both of this together, these courses together are $88. And for the month of August, it is only $40. So you can check out the show notes or link in my Instagram bio to grab that. All right, now on to today's episode, where I'm so excited to jam with our special guest so that you can learn how to design transformational experiences for your clients. So let me ask you these questions. What are the 4 elements to designing transformational experiences? We're going to really dig in deeper into that. What are the essential ingredients for facilitating personal transformation? And how do you bring in transformation and the woo together? I have my very special guest, Tracy King, who is a fellow undercut boss babe. She also has a sexy undercut. And she is also a podcast host of Gritty Mystique. She is here to activate potential. I really love that, Tracy. And for more than 20 years, she has dedicated her career to designing and delivering transformational learning experiences. Tracy is a master learning designer, professional development consultant, and owns an instructional design agency. Tracy is an award-winning author of Competitive Advantage, Create Continuing Education that is profitable, sustainable, and impactful, and chapter author of the Routledge Text Microlearning in the Digital Age. Her work synthesizing how brains learn into a model for crafting transformational experiences has been featured on NBC, ABC, Fox, Forbes, and hundreds of national syndicated television, newspaper, and magazine outlets. No big deal, right, you guys? So we are in for a real treat. As an intuitive channel and transformational teacher, Tracy's podcast, Grade 8 Mystique, holds space for illuminating conversations on personal development, inspiring divine breakthroughs. She and her guests offer tips, tools, and techniques for becoming the most powerful and authentic you. So I've been very honored to be on her podcast as well. We will link that in the show notes so that you guys can tune in on there. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you so much. I adore you, and I am so excited for our conversation today.
I'm so excited as well. One of the things we will also dive into is that Tracy channels Seth, which she's going to share a little bit more about what that is, because this is really new for me to learn about with you channeling Seth and just all the magic that's going to come through. I'm already getting goosebumps and excitement about this, Tracy.
It's going to be good.
Oh, I love it. So I'd love for you to share how you got to be who you are today and do what you do.
Such a good question. Well, I have, from the time I was a child, always been interested in education. I mean, my brother would tell you stories about how I sat him down and played school with him. He's 6 years younger than me.
I did that too.
So it's just in my DNA I'm passionate about learning, about transformational learning experiences, about being part of that process. So what happened for me in my first job, I saw an issue in the team, in our productivity. There was just, a drag in our processes, identified the issue, and I presented a solution to my vice president. Like, we need a little bit of training in this area to smooth this out. She's like, great, why don't you create that? Like, excuse me? All right, I'll do that. So I got to work. I created the training. It was wildly successful and impactful within that organization. And suddenly I got bit by a bug, right? That like, wow, this is so creative to craft this journey from where we are to where we want to be, solving this challenge. There are definite methodologies and tools with which we can do that. And just seeing the change and the impact that it made, I was like, I need to do this with my life. And so I went to graduate school. I got my master's in communication and took, the standard pedagogy course to learn how to be a teacher. The thing is, in my classroom, my first classroom, I come in with my textbooks and, I'm wheeling in all of my teaching materials. And I could see on my students' faces in front of me when I was succeeding, but also when I was epically failing. You just can't learn from a semester course how the brains learn and what the modalities that you need to call upon in order to play in that space with helping people grow their brains. And so I became passionate about really understanding the learning science. And unbeknownst to my students, my courses became my learning laboratory. They were my subjects. And I tried out these ideas that I was learning from the scientific research on how brains learn, what methodologies are more effective, what is the sequence of methodologies in order to achieve different types of outcomes. And through that experience, it was okay. They learned. It was a great experience for them. I crafted this 4-part model to really simplify not only understanding for how brains learn, but how we then can design learning experiences. Because here's the thing, learning is change. Learning is transformation. If transformation doesn't happen, that is your empirical evidence that learning has not happened. There's an element missing. And so that's the story of how I passionately became involved in this area. I've worked with international, national, regional organizations and crafting transformational learning for primarily for professional development, for workforce development, but also in my own businesses to coach and transform professionals who are, really trying to be that person for their constituencies, offering transformational experiences. So that's the short story on that component, and why I established my consultancy, Inspired Education.
Oh,
There's another
wow.
side to my coin, but
Please share that.
so my other business is Gritty Mystic, and it's starting with the podcast as an offering, and I'm moving into offering some free channel content on YouTube now as well.
Yes.
And that is all around my relationship with and connection to the Seth entity, which I am excited to get into with you. Do you want me to share that story?
Please do. Yes. It's like
Okay.
I'm so fascinated by this aspects as well.
So once upon a time, my life was crashing and burning. Has anyone experienced that?
No, not at
I
all.
came to no one has. I'm alone in that. So I am in the ashes of what we're hoping is going to be a Phoenix moment, when we end up in those spaces where everything just feels destroyed. We're just down to the studs here. And I was reaching out to, network of family and friends for support, of course. And I went and traveled and spent a weekend with my dad, who, for all kinds of reasons, there have been periods of my life when I've been estranged from him. And so he told me that about his experiences connecting with his higher self and auto writing and receiving amazing insights that were really improving his life. And he was like, would you like to meet your spirit guide or higher self or whomever comes through? And I was like, well, yeah, hook me up with that.
That's right. And how long are we talking about, Tracy? How long ago
back
was
in 2008. 2008, yeah.
Okay. That's also
Yeah,
when I started to have my spiritual awakening. So interesting.
Ooh, I think that there was a collective shift happening in that space and time as well. I hear that from other people, and that's very exciting. That alignment is so cool. So my dad said that his first, connection was through a Ouija board. It was like, wait a minute, you told me not to use one of those when I was a kid. And he was like, well, I've learned now how to, place protective space and to call in my guides and to ensure that we're only connecting with and speaking with beings of light and love. And so would you like to participate in that space? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So we set our intentions. We set sacred space. We set protective space. We called in, our guides, ancestors, ancient ones, angels, protectors. And that was a crazy experience. So very specific. The insights and intelligence that came through, but it was through that experience that I initially met Seth, and Seth came through very powerfully. And here's a beautiful thing. I'm going to get emotional. One of the very first message that Seth shared with me was a poem. And my dad channeled that poem. He started, because the spelling out on the board is crazy.
Totally.
You're not going to get very far, right? And so this poem talks about very specific episodes in my life where I knew that I was connected to, an intelligence, a consciousness. So I was befriended and protected. And yet I didn't know how to articulate what that was and how this presence has been with me and has served as a guide and was now available, saying, hello, I'm introducing myself formally now, in order to really deeply connect, grow, and work together. And so I left that experience profoundly changed. I immediately started channeling. But again, because my life at the time was category dumpster fire, not the moment to go publicly and say, I'm channeling this amazing teacher entity. Anyone want to, learn more? I was doing some deep healing work, and so as a result, have been working with the Seth entity for the last, dozen years. And the thing is the Seth entity has a new message to share. This entity is the same that, a component of this entity came forward in the 1970s, was channeled by Jane Roberts, and is really the author of the concept, or at least bringing back into our conscious awareness the fact that we create our own reality. That was very controversial back then. It was like, what do you mean everything's not external, and happening to me, that I have, power, influence, impact. I can create the experience I desire. And so Jane's career as a channeler was really spent exploring what that means. And, a lot of the familiar channelers in the space right now have, continued that work, really talking about the nuances, thinking particularly of Abraham, of manifestation. What's the art and the science? How does it really work, right? Well, Seth has a new message to kind of tack on to this place that we are right now, in this cusp space that we are in. And it's all about embodying our being. It's about what are the three components. There's a framework that allow us to not so much focus on creating things, manifesting things that might feel comfortable or might even be things we want to experience, but how do we, that is a product of our becoming. So the framework is align, allow, be, and interestingly completely correlates to my work in the learning design space. And it's all about dilating wider so that you can embody more of your higher self. We think that higher self is out there and bigger and stronger and powerful. No, it's you. Open wider, become who you are. And all that other stuff is just going to fall into alignment for you. And so this is the work, is really unpacking what does it mean for us to align, to allow, and to be, to really be who we are, who we're becoming, especially in this cusp moment, where we're very concerned about ascending to a new space and a new way of being.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of that wisdom. And I love how you've tied in these four elements, and it really moves into all areas of you and who you are and who you are showing up. I'd love to jam a little bit more about these four elements when we come back from commercial. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Tracy.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
My loves, you know you're here as a soul-led leader to transform this world through the sharing of your passions and gifts. You are here to be in your warrior of light and align your business with your highest self. I'm Rosalyn Fung of the show Activate Your Soulgasmic Business. Let's elevate your business to the next expansive level. I invite you to flow into a business soul alignment discovery call with me at rosalynfung.com. That's ROSALYN, fun as in have some fun, Fung, and let's see how I can best hold space for you to align your highest self, magnetize your dream clients, and monetize on your soul mission. I can't wait to connect.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Do you feel like your emotions are all over the place? That's normal during this abnormal time. There are a number of ways to cope. Maintain a healthy routine, get enough sleep, eat nutritious food, and exercise at least 30 minutes each day. Schedule some time to talk with a friend or family member. And remember, you can always take a few deep breaths to feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back, loves. Because Tracy has two different, we'll say dimensions, because we're multi-dimensional aspects to her business, we're going to toggle back and forth, and I feel the magic's going to integrate at the end of this episode. So, my love, what are the 4 elements to designing transformational experiences for our clients? What are important aspects we need to know?
I love this question so much. So let's just start with how brains learn. All brains learn. They acquire new knowledge and skills through a similar spiral-shaped process. So I'm going to burst a bubble here. There are no learning styles. There's no empirical evidence that learning styles improve training. They are more accurately maybe content consumption preferences, but they actually have little, if any, bearing on the actual learning process, is what has been found through hundreds of studies. And so when we look at how the brain works, the first step to learn anything new, to be or do something better, new or different, is attention. And attention is a neurobiological process by which we sort inputs, right? You know, every day, all day long, we're getting bings from our phone and buzzes from our computer, and there's the noise outside, and there's the humming of the train. There are lots and lots of inputs demanding attention, but the brain very quickly sorts out what's important. And things that are important are our physical health and danger. So bears would rise to the top of the list. But more importantly for us as coaches, as transformational teachers, consultants offering programs, is what is relevant to the learner exactly where they are. So what is their challenge in their own words? How do they identify their challenge? And what solution can you offer to meet them where they are? So attention is really that first step. We have to attract them, is a great word for consultants. How are we going to attract our learners to our program so that they will engage? The next part of the cycle is where the brain is like, okay, thank you, you have my attention. This might be interesting to me. This might be relevant to me, but how does it connect to what I already know, to what I've already experienced? What am I going to build this upon? And so this is where, we come at the content with pattern matching, with recalling what's known so we can attach the new stuff, where we clarify misunderstandings around concepts or behavior, right? So that prospect learner can really see, how is this going to solve my problem? Especially, like, how am I going to be able to integrate this? Is this something that I'm going to actually be able to do, right? And this is something that also happens pretty quickly. This is something that is happening in our short-term memory, where this analysis piece is coming into play. And then when the brain is like, okay, we believe you. Belief is a huge piece of this for us consultants. We believe that you can solve my problem, so I'm ready to invest energy and dig in. The next stage in how the brain learns is an associate stage. And this is where really the work of learning starts to get good, and learning is work. Whenever I ask people, so how did you become a master of X, Y, or Z? Oh, hard work, trial and failure. All of the challenging, I'm going to grunt through and actually own this type of work. That's what this stage is about. This is where we want to not just present information. We want our clients to be able to personalize and really own this for themselves. And so interaction becomes key. We want learners to be able to reflect so they can like attach this new learning right where it belongs in their brain. We want them to be able to discuss, to elaborate, how might they apply this in their business or in their practice. We want them to be able to problem solve through examples, that safe space to kind of apprentice through how they might apply this content without any consequences, right? So that they can learn from their mentor teacher, where they need to improve their practice. So feedback is a big part of this stage in the learning cycle. And this is really where a lot of courses I see, especially online courses, fall apart because this associate component is missing. This like safe practice and feedback component is missing, and it can happen in online learning that's asynchronous, that's self-driven. But when we engage in this stage in the learning process, the amazing thing that gets me so geeked out is we literally are building new neural connections in the brain. It physically changes our brain. This is how we can remember and access these insights and behaviors later, because we're creating new pathways for them to exist. And so the more we work with the content and we practice these skills, the better access we have to it later, which is how consultants and coaches really derive value. They create value for their clients. And so the final step is apply. Now, often on learning models, what you'll see is the final step is assessment. But assessment is a tool to learn. It's a tool for us to know whether we've, mastered something or there's still a gap that we need to fill, right? So that's a tool. It's not a part of the process. The last part of the process is to really apply, to act, to in the real world, to practice. And as you're practicing, refine your practice based on your results. And so we're synthesizing all of the insights gained through the rest of the process into doing. And this could include things like prototyping or, consultants can offer learners a template to try things out and to modify for their own use, and also give them some how-tos so they can interpret their results. So what next steps might I take to refine my practice, right? So if we're in an asynchronous, self-driven online learning kind of situation, that would look like some if-then content. So if you encounter this common problem, then try this, right? If you run into this scenario, then adapt this so that learners can continue to refine their practice and really master it. And also, the next thing for a consultant or a coach would be if you would like to practice with me. Right? There is a program for that in our group coaching program, in our one-on-ones, or whatever the case may be for you. And so how brains learn, we have to attend, we have to analyze where content belongs, we associate it, and we start to practice in a safe place and then apply it and refine our understanding, directly ties to how we can create then experiences that are in perfect alignment with what a brain wants, with what feeds the brain, with how people embrace change in their lives.
Tracy, I am loving all of this that you're sharing. It really is, as you're walking us through the different steps, and I'm sure our audience is those of us that have online courses or programs that we offer and deliver. We're all probably going through those steps. Which one am I missing? And so this is a really, really beautiful, methodical way in how you're sharing it. And that was gold. And I bet that's barely just scratching the surface. This is powerful. Right. And I love the last component, especially because it really is aligned with what I say. It's like knowledge is not power, but applying that knowledge is what creates the power. So it's 100%. The application, it's the action. So that is powerful. Where can people learn more about this from you?
You can visit me at inspired-ed for inspireded.com. And I have content on the website, but I also have a learning site. So if you click that learning tab, you can take a free course called, what is it called? Designing Impactful Experiences or something like that. But it goes through this model, and it offers an opportunity for you to practice and receive feedback. So it's a model for a self-driven course that includes the action step and receiving feedback. And so not only is it a learning experience, it's an opportunity to see how it can be done.
That is powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we'll make sure we have those in the show notes as well. So when I'm feeling into where we shall go from here, is there anything else? Like, what are some top questions that your clients, when they first started to work with you, like some of the top struggles or challenges you notice they make or have?
Ooh, yes. So
that was a good question. I can tell.
Yes. I'm feeling it. So the first is thinking that we can design a course that everyone is going to love to hop in and take. That is false. So learning is designed for a particular brain to solve a particular problem. And so we have to know precisely who that learner target is so that we can craft an experience in a way that connects with what's known and where they want to grow, so that they will trust us to take them on that journey. So it is absolutely vital to select who your primary target audience will be for your learning, just like you would for your marketing, just like you would for any other tailored messaging. Learning is the very same. You have to know who you're talking to. What's that learning brain look like? What do they need? What misunderstandings do they have that we need to correct? What do they think their solution is? They don't really know what the correct solution is, but we need to bridge that for them. They think their solution is this first step in a larger process, typically. And so we really have to understand that learner, and we have to build safe space for them to feel vulnerable with us, to fall apart with us, to reassemble their understanding and really, grow their skill superpower with us. And so they need an opportunity to know who we are and why they should trust us. There's a value proposition in my book, Competitive Advantage, and it's why you, why are you pitching this to me? Why now? Why this? So why should I trust you to deliver this experience for me? Why do I need to do this right now? What's the urgency? And why would this solution be the most elegant for solving my problem? Why do I need to stop shopping right now? Right? And so telling that story, again, it goes back to really understanding them so that when they see your value proposition, when they read your copy, they're like, oh my word, you've been reading my diary. How do you know me so well? You know exactly what I need. And because you see me, I trust you.
My question, this is so powerful, Tracy, like you're really, really inviting me, and I know you're inviting the audience to really dig deeper here, because that's like one layer, and marketing in itself is a whole game to master, but particularly marketing to a learning style. How do we discover what our soulmate client's learning style is? Does it mirror our own?
I mean, going back to, the beginning of our conversation, learning styles are
don't matter so much.
They're a neural myth. Neural myth. So what is important to your learner? Yes. So we're just going to set that aside. We're going to pack that box. We're going to kick it under the bed. What's important is that you see your learner's challenge, that you can talk about it in their own words, because we often, since we're masters, we have a different vocabulary than we did when we were first solving this problem, right? And so we have to craft our messaging so that they see themselves in your problem and solution statement. And then, if you're offering a full cycle learning experience, 100%, there's going to be some interaction and feedback in there. And because you're attending to all four of those quadrants of how brains learn, you're going to connect with them where they are in their journey, and you're going to offer them the types of experiences, not just information, not just content, but experiences they need to become that new thing, that better, more efficient, kick-ass person, right? And so that's the story that you're telling, that this isn't just curated content or information and maybe a worksheet. No, this is an experience. People
Yes.
will throw money at you for an experience that rocks their world. They buy transformation. Really hard to sell information in this day and age, but transformation, gold.
And do you believe that self-study, evergreen courses where there is no interaction between the consultant coach, it's more like it's just a self-study course, can those create transformations?
They absolutely can. And here's why I love this question. Since learning is a journey, there are lots and lots of steps to an ultimate transformation, right? And our self-study courses are just, their superpower is helping learners start that journey and help them understand that their problem is actually bigger, that they may need expertise to get all the way where they want to go, or maybe haven't even admitted to themselves how far they want to go, right? It's an opportunity for them to safely get to know you, build rapport with you through your content and your learning experience so that they trust you for the bigger purchase, so they trust you for the longer journey. So this is like the bus ride versus the flight to Hawaii, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, the other thing is that when we're designing transformational learning, we're utilizing different tools for different levels of transformation. And your self-directed learning is often more, here's the foundational content, and here's a big reveal of where we can go next with this, right? And so just understanding our misunderstandings, getting some really tactical type of content that we can apply right away really sets up that next experience. And what you're doing as a consultant is you're ensuring that people who come into your coaching program are starting from the same brain space. They've learned the fundamentals and they're ready to take it deeper, to go farther, to really be all in and committed.
Oh my gosh, this is so yummy and juicy to my left brain. I am loving all of this. Thank you so much, Tracy. So we're going to take a commercial. And when we come back, we're going to tap into the other dimension of Tracy, which is all about Seth and what Seth offers.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
if you could find a way
To get inside
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Okay, welcome back, loves. So, like I said, we're going to shift over into the other dimension of Tracy, which is Seth. So, Tracy, I don't even know where to begin to ask you this question because I'm just like, I just want to know so many things. Like, how does this work? How does it start to integrate into your work with your clients? Tell us where you feel called to initiate this conversation around Seth.
Love it. Love it. Well, I mean, this is such a huge part of my life. It's one of those things where, some of those who are listening might feel like there's an intuitive component to your work. You just don't know how to articulate how you receive those insights, how you really tap into your clients, how you kind of know where to take them on their personal journey, right? And you are tapping into guide space, into your higher self insights, and you can embody more of that in your day-to-day. I mean, if you just consider when you're in meditation and you find that still point and you feel empowered, you feel just loved on, and you feel the joy that your spirit team just are just loving on you, right? And they're just they just want to empower you in everything you do. If you stepped that from meditation into all of the other moments of the day, into all of your decision making, into all of your client work, can you just even imagine how powerful that would be? How just what kind of juicy living that would be if you're always tapped into that space. And, you know, for so long, we've externalized what that means. Like, guides are out there. Higher self is way over there. And one day we'll integrate when we leave these physical bodies. But here's the thing. Nope. Actually, it's here and now for you. And the work that, you know, Seth is really eager to bring forward right now is how to integrate more of your higher self, your divine self, your soul self. I mean, you're a sliver of the very source of all existence, how to embody that into every moment of your day so that you not only empower your own existence, but as a collective, the light that you bring into this space, this time, this moment, into every interaction is multidimensional and multiplied. And so that's really the power of this work, and how it integrates with my geekiness about learning design is that I've been in this learning process with this framework for the last decade. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, starting from that dumpster fire moment, like, how do I crawl on out of here? These are nice words. All of my sass, all of my pushback, I didn't call, you know, abuse into my life, and I didn't create this heinous experience. And just the loving support around, well, let's talk about what choices you did make. Let's consider what you could have done and how that might have altered your experience. And so in no way, shape, or form am I going to stand here and say, if you're abused, you have asked for that. But what I am going to say is that we always have choice. And so the framework is about aligning with our higher self, where we want to go. In that moment, it's probably not as far as, you know, guide team would love us to go, but it's as far as we can see. All of the practices around getting in alignment, all of the practices around just allowing those next steps to happen, to getting out of our own way, to doing the shadow work, to just working with healers and being engaged in our own healing process so that we can eliminate the stumbling blocks that we would throw in our own goddamn way. I'm sorry. And then how do we become? How do we be? How do we dilate wider in order to allow our higher self to be present with us in all moments, in all decision making, in all relationships, so that we can really impact not only those we come into contact with in, you know, our physical incarnation, but the collective as a whole, the environment as a whole. I mean, what is our role in being part of this cusp moment that we're in? And so the new, you know, what's new is old, right? The framework that really distills this is align, allow, be. And that is going to be my life's work going forward, really unpacking what that means through teaching, but also through channeling the Seth entities themselves, because they are eager to share this work and to really help people align with what they can become.
This is so powerful, and I can already feel like everything that you're saying is just resonating so deeply within me, as I'm sure it is within the audience. And I'm wondering if we could invite Seth to come through for today's channeled message. Is that available to us?
Yeah, let me get connected here a second. You get your questions ready? with me just a second here.
Yeah, take your time, love.
Let us begin. It's our privilege to interact with you today and engage you in your questions.
My question, hi Seth, is what do we as a collective need to know right now that's so important for us to embody and live in so that we can be at a higher consciousness?
In this moment, there is a lot of conflict in your field of consciousness. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
There is a battle of ideology in your collective consciousness. There is what we would lovingly, quote unquote, say is the threat of transformation in your collective consciousness.
Especially around
changes
COVID
upon you
right now.
Changes upon you. You have predicted this would happen, that this would come. You have longingly expected transformation of the collective to come. It's here. But what happens when such transformation is underway is conflict, because there are opposing forces in the process of change. Think about any change or transformation in your life that incorporates other beings, other entities, other people, and there will be differing opinions about how to embark on change or what change is preferred. When we talk about manifesting our reality, we're often asking ourselves, what do I prefer? When we're talking about collective transformation, it becomes a we, and you are on the journey toward a we level of being. So we encourage you, as you're noticing conflict in your collective conscious awareness, that you do not embody it. Because what the embodiment of that is a vibration of fear. We see fear, we see anger, which is a manifestation of fear, because lashing out because afraid of something not desired or preferred may happen. And when you embody those vibrations, it's truly difficult to remain connected to your highest purpose for being, becoming, and leading others in your work, in your life, in your families, in your relationships. And so we urge you in this moment, where conflict seems so apparent, to realize this is a process. And in any learning journey, as we're talking about learning in this now moment, requires sometimes an undoing before a doing, requires a stripping down before a building up, requires a new understanding in order to level up. And so this is a space in which a lot of learning is taking place, and a lot of the process of change concerns those who feel threatened that their position of authority, their position of power, their concept that they are in control, we say concept because control is relative, is threatened. And so it is this threatened vibration that we don't want to attach to. We want to stay connected, align, allow, and become who you are, even in this environment, to bring more light and understanding and solutions to this now moment situation.
Seth, thank you so much. And I love how you really differentiate, what the collective energy is right now, and not to embody that. Yes, thank you. Can you see the future? Can you see what the future holds with regards to how the collective is going to be moving through COVID?
We see potentialities. All potentials are based on your decision making in this now moment. And so let us explain. Think about your individual life, and anytime you make a choice, a large choice, I'm going to go down this pathway or this pathway in my life. I must choose my next step, which will impact my future path. Well, the reality is you don't choose one. You do choose both. Your consciousness explores both pathways, and then the next intersection, and then the next fork in the road. So you can see how your life, interdimensionally, is very comprehensive. Your experiences as an individual sliver of source themselves is infinite. And so when asking any being to look into the future, we see possibility, we see potential, but it is based upon your individual and collective decision making, what path you will choose to explore. Shall we predict? How do we predict which path you intend to understand? And so understanding that you will be, as a collective, exploring challenging, more manageable and optimal pathways together in your interdimensional understanding of oneself. It is challenging for us to tell you precisely where you, in your decision-making, in your conscious awareness of the pathway that you're focusing upon in this now moment, will take you.
Thank you. And so I can see the value of why it's even more deeply important that we, as coaches, as consultants, rise up to that leadership role so that we can positively influence others to live in their light and love too.
Indeed. Your role is not only for oneself in managing one's own development and vibrational set point, but also in being a wider influence in helping others to remain connected to who they are and who they're becoming so that they can journey from that optimal point of view. They can take steps enlightened by their own inner and outer and interdimensional wisdom, so that we're not just quote unquote married to this moment, but to our becoming. You are so much more than what you see in your immediate surroundings. You are so much more than what circumstances may be dictated to you in stories that are told inside your household, in your communities, in the media. You are capable of so much more.
I'm breathing all of that in, and I invite our audience to breathe that in with us. We are capable of so much more. And would you say, Seth, that our children that are coming into this world today are more conscious and a higher vibration? Because I'm seeing way more sensitive children, my children included.
This is a natural byproduct of collective evolution. As a collective, the more what you call light, the more alignment with the higher vibrations of Source themselves you allow into this now moment, the more can happen. The more is possible. The more truth, capital T, truth of what existence is and is comprised of, is allowed into your conscious awareness. And so you as a collective have dilated the conversation wider by becoming. In your own journeys of becoming, you've allowed more to inform what can be.
Beautiful. Beautiful confirmation. Thank you. I'm feeling into what one more question may be. Where do you originate, Seth?
This is both an easy and a challenging question. Once upon a time, we were incarnated in your own timeline on your planet, but also others. We are a collective with infinite multiple lifeline experiences, timeline experiences. And throughout those experiences have assembled a wealth of knowledge and also are networked with other beings of our same level of density as well as source themselves. And so we are a collective voice. We have a multitude of identities and experiences and are able to now share with you how you may take steps in your own becoming.
Thank you so much for all of this, Seth. Thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us. And to our audience, please do connect with Tracy. Check out the show notes. You can go to grittymystique.com or inspired-ed.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Until next time, my friends, see you soon.